Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the battery in the iPhone 6s. So the first thing you want to do is power off your iPhone. Next, what we need to do is use a pentalobe screwdriver size 0, and we're going to need to remove these two screws in the bottom of the phone right here. So go ahead and remove those screws. Next, what you will need is a suction cup like this. So first of all, you want to do is push down on the screen right here. You want to stay just above the home button. If you go over the home button, it won't suction very well. So what we need to do is stick it down there, and then we need to pry up gently. Just pull up a little bit. And as you can see right above the headphone jack here, there's a little notch in the screen. If you can get in there with something, I'm just going to use a little pry tool like this. And you can just kind of slip in under there. At the same time, you're keeping tension on here with your finger. This particular phone has been apart before, I can tell, so it doesn't have much adhesive on here, because the iPhone 6s has adhesive strips on the inside right here, so it might come apart a little harder than what mine's showing. So you just want to keep working it along the edges. Don't go in very far. If you use a pry tool like this, just use it a little bit at a time. And then you can see this is starting to separate. So let's go ahead and remove our suction tool right now. Now we're ready to gently lift this up. All the way, don't lift it past the 90 degrees. If you do more than a 90 degrees, you can end up tearing these cables up here, and we don't want to do that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use a Phillips screwdriver size 000, and we're going to need to remove these 4 screws in this plate right here. So go ahead and remove those. Now that you've removed those screws, make sure you put them in the right order so you know how they go back together, because some of them are different sizes. Just pull this plate off of here, set it with your screws. Now next we're going to disconnect these connectors right here. We're going to do them in order, whichever one's on top. So the one that's furthest towards the bottom here, going to slip in here. I would recommend use something plastic or your fingernail or something. Don't use anything metal for this, because it could damage the connectors. So just go ahead and remove all 3 of those. They're kind of stacked in order like that, so you can see. And now that that's loose, you're free to take the screen off just like that, all the way. If this video was helpful to you so far, I would appreciate if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would help me out a lot. I'll include links in the video description below the video for any tools that I'm going to be using on this repair today, or any parts that I'm going to be replacing. Anything that I think might be helpful to you, I'll include a link in the video description below the video, so check it out there. So the first thing we want to do is remove this cover for the battery connector right here. So use the Phillips screwdriver and remove these 2 screws right here in this cover. Now that you've removed those screws, make sure to set them off to the side in the right order so you know how they go back, and then remove this cover right here and set it with your screws. Next, we're going to disconnect the battery connector right here. We're going to use something plastic or a fingernail or something that's not metallic, because we don't want any sparks. So we'll go ahead and disconnect that battery connector and get it out of the way. So now to change this battery, there's a few things I need to go over and discuss with you first of all. Right here are the volume buttons on the side of the phone, and there's a flex cable that runs under the battery right here in this top corner, so we can't pry anywheres around here. You can't pry anywheres on this side because of the motherboard. You can damage the motherboard if you pry on this side at all, and we got to be careful on this end over here. So I'll just explain the process really quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the phone over, and we're going to heat on the back side right here with like a hairdryer or heat gun. I'll show you mine in a minute. And we can only heat on this part right here. See where the volume buttons are? You got to stay below the volume buttons, and the logic board, the motherboard, is in here about halfway. So we can only heat in this area right in here. You can use a hairdryer or heat gun. I'm going to use this heat gun, which I recommend. It's a TR Industrial. I'll link to this in the video description where you can find it if you don't have one. But a hairdryer works as well if you have one of those. We're going to apply some heat here. You don't want to get it too hot, just hot enough so you can still touch it okay. Our goal is to try to loosen the adhesive strips a little bit. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to loosen these adhesive strips right here. You're just going to peel them up for now, get them loose like this. Then so go ahead and apply some heat. So then what I'm going to do is use a tweezers like this, and I'm going to use the back part of the tweezers. If you want to check the link in the video description, I'll link to a battery kit that has all these tools with it that you can use to do all this. And what I recommend is just going in here and carefully prying up a little bit to loosen the battery, just to get this edge up a little bit. Now the reason for the tweezers is it has a dull edge here. You can use anything that has a dull edge and is strong enough. But so what we're going to do is we're going to grab onto the end of this adhesive strip here, and our goal is to try to make it around the corner here as quickly as possible while pulling at an angle like this. And we're just going to keep pulling. Now my adhesive strip broke. This is kind of what it looks like when it's wadded up after it comes out. Now mine didn't come the whole way, so what I'm going to have to do is keep prying up to loosen it up, and just do this carefully. Keep in mind the volume button flex cable runs under here, so we don't want to go up higher than this. So we're just going to keep rocking this and applying heat at the same time. So if it cools off too much, you can flip it over and apply some more heat. Now you can see down in there, that's where my adhesive strip ended right there, so I only got about an inch. So it's coming loose in there, it just needs a little more persuasion. Now that you've added some more heat, go ahead and keep prying, and you can see that it's coming loose. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try this second one here. and we're going to keep pulling this one all the way out. And that one tore as well. Sometimes they just do that. Sometimes they come out all the way. But so what we can do at this point, we probably got it loose enough that we can just carefully pry up. And then the whole battery comes out like that. Now you can see there's some adhesive strips left here. What we're going to do is just grab our tweezers or whatever you want to use and get rid of the rest of this adhesive in here. Now that you've got the adhesive strips all cleaned out in there, what we're going to do is you're going to grab your new battery and you're going to do these adhesive strips that come with the battery kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to peel one side of these off. So whichever side comes off, you can discard that part. And what we found is the easiest way to put this battery adhesive on, once you peel that part off, flip the battery over and line this black part up at the end of the battery, and go ahead and lay these strips down on top of the battery like this. So once you press them down nicely, peel these top ones off and fold them over and stick them down. Then carefully you can peel this up the battery. Now we only have one chance of getting this right, so what you want to do is kind of just center it in the hole best you can. You can set this down first if you need to, since the adhesive doesn't come all the way up, so that way you have a chance to hold it there and line it up. Then you just gently set it down in there, press the battery down good all the way around, and you're ready for reassembly. Now to reassemble the LCD screen, let's grab it and tip it up here at 90 degrees. Now you can see we have 3 different connectors here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the one that's on the bottom, snap it in right here where it goes. Now these should be able to just press in with a soft click. You should be able to feel them and hear them. So do the second one, then do the third one, and reconnect the battery connector. Press that down. Now before we put all our plates back on, we're going to test this phone by powering it on. You can see it's powering on okay. So you can see your touchscreen works, so you can go ahead and get out of that. Turn it back off. Now that we turned it back off, go ahead and get your screen back up at 90 degrees. Grab our little plate in here, set it on here, and then go ahead and put those 4 screws back in. So now that you got the 4 screws in this plate right here, grab your cover, set it down on top of there, and go ahead and put your 2 screws back in. What you can do is gently set your screen down. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to try to show you, is we need to get these tabs in up here first. Tip the screen up like this carefully, and we need to get the front started first, like that. And then we can start just pushing this down all the way. Make sure it's good all the way down. Then go ahead and put your 2 bottom screws back in. Now that you got your bottom screws back in, go ahead and power on your device. And again, make sure everything's working, and you're all set. Thanks for watching.